Okay, so we're just going to crack on with percentages. This is number 24 on the CETA checklist, and there's two things that we really need to go over: compound interest and reversing the change. Okay, so very quickly, if I want to increase, say I've got £500, and I want to increase that amount by 10%. Okay, I'm going to times that by 1.1. The 1.1 here, that's my decimal multiplier. I can think on that as 1 plus or minus the percentage divided by 100. Okay, in fact, I'm going to rewrite that because that's so messy. Okay, so that's 1 plus or minus the percentage divided by 100. So if I want to increase 500 by 20%, I would do 1 plus 20 over 100, which would be 1.2. If I wanted to decrease 500 by 7%, I would do 1 take away 7 divided by 100. Okay, so that's our first bit. Okay, if I wanted just to find 10% of something, I would times it by, so say I wanted to find 20%, I would times that by 0.2. Okay, but that's going to give me 20% of a number. Okay, if I wanted to increase it by 20%, I'd have to do 500 multiplied by 1.2. Okay, if I wanted to, I could do it the whole way. I could say 500 times 0.2 is 20%, and then add that on to 500. Okay, but just remember this 1 in here, this equation of the 1 plus or minus the percentage over 100. Okay, that saves us the hassle of, say, working out 20% and then adding it onto the original. Okay, so if I was actually trying to, say, reduce this number by 20%, I would times it by 0.8. I could have done, let's times it by 0.2 and take that away from 1. Okay, but this bit in here, it's all about increasing or decreasing the number by the percentage. Okay, so that's the first little bit about compound. So if we remember that, that's a big bit for a start. Okay, so let's look at something that says a charity, 80,000 packages. The number is expected to increase by 15% each year. Calculate how many expects to distribute in 2021. So first of all, let's say from 18 to 21, that's 19, 20, 21. That's 3 years, we'll call that. Okay, and we're increasing by 15%. So I'd be kind of highlighting the important data there. Okay, I'll just write down 3 years. So if I wanted to increase 80,000 by 15%, I would not multiply it by 0.15. That's me worked out. That's me working out 15%. Okay, I'd multiply it by 1.15. Okay, and that's the same as our equation, which was the 1 plus or minus. Oops, I'm still getting used to writing on this screen. 1 plus or minus the percentage divided by 100. Okay, so that's 1 plus 15 over 100, which is 1.15. So that's going to work out this increase by 15%, but that's happening for 3 years. Okay, and the rule for this one is I'm going to do it to the power of 3. Okay, that's the only extra bit we need to worry about here. Okay, now all that's saying is £80,000 multiplied by 1.15 multiplied by 1.15 multiplied by 1.15. Okay, this is the neat way of writing this. Okay, and that's what our compound interest is. It's taking this original amount, times it by 15%, or increasing it by 15%, and then taking that amount and increasing it by 15%, and then that amount by 15%. Okay. So yeah, 2 things to get there. Remembering you've got your power of, so you don't times it by 3, for example, that'd be wrong, it's to the power of 3, and then getting this decimal multiplier. Okay. On your calculator, if you want to do that, you would type in 80,000 multiplied by 1.15, and then you'd hit the x to the power of y button. So it's a button that looks a bit like this. Okay, and that's your power of button. Okay, so 80,000 times 1.15, x to the power of y, and 3. Okay, so it should look like this on your calculator, and that should give you 121 970. Okay, very straightforward. Okay, all you're looking for is your decimal multiplier and which power it is. Okay, great question to get. This is the other type of question we can get, which is our reverse the change, and all that really is an amount of money equals a percentage, equals 100% plus or minus a percentage. Okay, that's how all these questions start. So let's read this question. Georgie had a roof repaired and she was charged an extra 2.5% for the late payment. So in this case, an extra 2.5, so I know I'm at 102.5%. Okay, she's been charged an extra 2.5% on what's the normal amount. Okay, and she had to pay 977.85. 977.85. Okay, if you can get that first line, that's probably the hardest bit of this whole question. Okay, it's looking for what amount relates to what new percentage. So it's things like a house has depreciated in value by 20% and it's now worth 100,000. So you'd say, well, it's £100,000, okay, and it's decreased in value by 20%, so that means I'm at 80% now, and it'll ask what's the original value. Okay, things like that. So if you can get that first line, okay, that's brilliant. So what amount have you got and what percentage have you got? And all you're going to do then is work out 1%. So how do I get from 102.5% to 1%? Well, I have to divide both sides by 102.5. Okay, 102.5, so any number divided by itself is 1. So I'll do that to both sides. I'll say 977.85 divided by 102.5. That's going to give me £9.54. And then how do I get from 1% to 100%? I'll multiply both sides by 100. So that's going to give me £954. Simple as that. Okay. So all I did was both sides were divided by 102.5. So that side's divided by 102.5. That side's divided by 102.5. And then both sides multiplied by 100. Both sides multiplied by 100. Okay. Simple as that. And then you can think to yourself, does that make sense? Well, does it make sense? So say if this was 100%, if I wanted to work out what 102.5 would be, I'd be adding on 2.5% to that. Okay, so I could take my 954 and I could say, well, what's 2.5% of that? Well, divided by 100 to work out 1%. I could take this number here, times that by 2.5, and add it onto this number, and that'll give me 102.5% if you wanted to check it. So that's your two types of questions. Just to go back up to the beginning here, Bethany invests £4,000 in a savings account. The interest rate is 4. How much will investment be worth in 3 years? Well, you would take £4,000, multiply it by the 1.04, but instead of writing it the long way, we'll do it to the power of 3. So it's the amount, your decimal multiplier, and then the power is the number of years. Very straightforward, okay? And the reverse the change, a restaurant bill cost this after a 10% service charge was added on. So this is our amount, and we've added on 10% to 100%, because you always start with 100%. The bill was 100%, I'm adding on 10. So that's our first line of working. To work at 1%, divide both sides by 110. To get to 100, times both sides by 100. Okay. If we wanted to check it was right, we know that this is 100%, and here we know that's 1%. So if we wanted to work out 10%, we can times that by 10. Add them together just to check. Okay. Yeah, hope that's helpful.